Hey y'all, on today's episode, we are talking about what does it mean to even build a brand, and is it something that you need to do to be successful? Make sure you tune in on YouTube or Apple Podcasts to listen in. Welcome back to another episode of the Work Hard, Live Soft podcast, where I teach you how to build a business that will allow you to live the life that you love. I'm excited about this episode because we are talking about building a brand, and you know me as a personal brand strategist, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. But I don't know if you've ever wondered if there's a difference between a brand or business, because I've heard a lot of people use those terms interchangeably. You need to build your brand, or I'm starting my business, I'm launching my brand, I'm launching my business, I'm doing a rebrand. If you've ever felt confused about the difference between the two, we're going to dive into that in today's episode. But I want to specifically answer the question, what is a brand, and is it necessary in order for you to build a business? Now, in order for you to really understand if it's necessary or not, you have to really get a level of clarity on the difference between a brand or a business. When I think about a business, I think about the transaction. I think about the exchange of money. I think about having a product or a service that is available for sale. And so when I'm teaching my clients, I teach that a business sells a product, but a brand sells a personality. And if you're listening to this episode, it's very likely that your business is based on your service or your skill set. So you are building your personal brand. You are building a business that is reliant on who you are as a person. And so when you're building a brand, there's a level of connection, there's a level of emotion, there's going to be some storytelling, and that's what's going to allow you to build trust so that you can make sales for your business. So if you want to build a successful business, you don't necessarily need to have a brand, but if you are a personal brand, you're selling your skill set, you are selling some aspect of you, then you absolutely need to be able to build your brand first. Now, there are some examples of businesses that are simply just focused on selling a product, like some drop shipping businesses, just things where you might just be selling something on Amazon. You might have a faceless business, but if you're wanting, again, to build a company around your skill set or around an expertise, you need to consider building a brand. And when you're also building a business, the business doesn't have to necessarily be around you. There are also major companies where they are building a brand, not around the CEO, but around the customer journey, or the customer story. And so you will recognize this when you are seeing commercials. All great brands have a story. And so even if it's not your own personal story, or even if it's not the story of the CEO or the story of the founder, you're going to see an example of a story being told of the ideal customer. And the reason why that story is told is because customers want to see an example of themselves in the product. Customers want to see an example of themselves in the business. And that's why mastering your brand story as a personal brand is really important. So an example of that is I work with a lot of women who want to grow their brand, who want to grow their business. And one of my very first brand stories is that I was in college, I had a skill set, I wanted to drop out, I wanted to go full time, and I needed to have the courage to go full time instead of living in my comfort zone. So I talk a lot about having this passion and needing to follow my purpose despite disappointing the people closest to me. And I found that a lot of the women that I worked with, they had to make a scary decision, whether it was going full time and leaving their 9 to 5, or it was growing their business despite lack of support from their friends or from their family. And so when they were able to understand my brand story, there was an instant connection, because at the end of the day, we build trust with people that we feel like they understand us, right? Nothing makes me feel closer to somebody than knowing that they understand exactly what I'm going through, because they either experienced it themselves or they have worked with people who have experienced it themselves. So let's go into detail about what a brand really encompasses. When I think about building a brand, I think about overall reputation. And your reputation isn't something that you can force, but it is something that you can influence. Your reputation isn't something that you can really fully control, but you can influence it by how you are intentionally communicating with the rest of the world. And so when you're building your brand, you have to ask yourself, what am I trying to communicate and how will I communicate that? And many times when people think about a brand, they think about their logo, they think about their website, they think about the graphics, and they think about the photos. And all of those things are part of your brand. It's part of building your visual brand. But your visual brand should be in alignment with what your core message is. And so it's really important that you first establish your core message and what you want to communicate. So that way your logo and your fonts and your colors and your photos are complementing what you have decided your message should be, so that all of those parts are complementing what you want to communicate out into the world. And so you want to figure out what is being communicated through your messaging and your content. When people go to your social media, or when they read your captions, or when they open up your emails, do you have a similar thread of what you are saying? What is it that you want to be known for? When my clients are confused on what their message should be or how to be consistent with their message, I have them ask themselves, how do you want people to see who you are? You need to answer 3 questions: who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. And at every single point, whether somebody goes to your website, to your social media, to your YouTube page, to your podcast, they should be able to answer who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. So for my business particularly, people know that I am a branding expert or a launch strategist. They know that I primarily serve women of faith or female entrepreneurs or experts, coaches, and consultants. And they know that I serve them through my free content. They know that I serve them through my podcast. They know that I serve them through my paid programs and live events. So you want to be able to clearly answer those questions. And then when it comes to the visual side, you want to make sure that the visuals back up what you're communicating. Now, the other thing that you want to consistently communicate is what your values are. And you might not verbatim list out what your values are, right? So like some of my personal core values are personal responsibility or family or freedom or joy. And I might not blatantly say that those are my core values, but you can tell that those are my core values by the content that you see from me online. You see me talking about freedom, taking vacations, living a soft life. You see me spending time with my family. You see me talking about how much I love love. And so you also want to make sure that you're infusing your natural personality characteristics, your values within your overall message, within your overall content. So another part of your communication are your processes. Essentially, what do you do consistently? How do you show up for your clients? What does it look like when you enroll them? How consistent are you when you're posting on social media? How consistent is your message across the board? Are you constantly rebranding? Are you constantly changing your title? You want to figure out how you can show up consistently so you can build that trust so people know who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. And so an example of doing something consistently would be like the brand Fashion Nova. One of the many jokes I hear about Fashion Nova all the time is the amount of emails that they are going to send out and the subject line of the emails being something that is related to current events. Of course, they're known for their fast fashion, but they're known for how they market and who they are marketing to. So I want you to think about, what are some things that you do consistently? How can you infuse your personality into your brand so you can build trust with your ideal client or customer? I remember when I first started building my brand, I was being so corporate-like because I thought that was going to get people to take me more seriously. And when I started infusing my personality into my brand, I also started attracting people who were also playful, who were also fun, who were also serious about growing their business, but they weren't so serious about life. And so the more authentic you are when it comes to building your brand, the more you're going to naturally attract people who authentically like your message, like your voice, and eventually like your products and your services. Another example is Amazon. We know Amazon for their fast shipping. We just expect Amazon to show up the next day with our packages, and showing up the next day is just part of their processes. So you want to think about, what is the standard that I have with my customer service? What is the standard that I have with my service delivery? What is the standard that I have with how I communicate with my audience online? Think about the standards that you want to be known for and make sure you are doing them consistently if you want to build a positive reputation. So as I mentioned, if you're listening to this, you are likely a personal brand, meaning that you are selling a service or your business is reliant on your unique skill. And so there are 3 categories with personal brands that I teach my clients to go deeper on so they can identify what type of personal brand am I so I can understand how I want to monetize. The first type of personal brand is the practitioner. This is the person that actually does the work. This is the person that actually shoots the videos or edits the videos. This could be photographers, this could be accountants, this could be lawyers, this could be hairstylists. These are the people who are actually practitioners of their skill. They are actually practitioners of their expertise. Now, the second type of personal brand you could be is an educator. You are teaching a skill. So this is going to be your coaches. This is going to be your course creators. This is going to be your workshop facilitators, people that host webinars. You have a unique framework. You have a unique thing that you want to teach. And so you are building your personal brand as an educator. You are positioning yourself as an expert who can help somebody get results through some type of training system or curriculum. And then the third type of personal brand is going to be an entertainer. So this is going to be like your influencers, your actors and actresses, and your comedians. Now, it is very possible that you could be just one of these things. You could be one or two of these things, or you can be all 3, but you need to clearly decide which one do you want to lead with, because this is going to determine how you monetize your brand. Now, you might find that you are one of these types of brands or that you are all 3. I know for me, I mentioned in season 1, episode 6, that if I were starting from scratch, I would absolutely be a practitioner, meaning I would offer a done for you service, whether I was a copywriter, a graphic designer, somebody that would put somebody's funnels together, actually doing the work for them. I just feel like it's one of the most straightforward ways to make money. You don't have to overprove yourself because you're actually doing the work for them. But when you find yourself being a practitioner for so long, a lot of people actually want to learn your skill and you start transitioning into being an educator. Now, what I love to see is educators who are also practitioners, because that's such a simple way to build trust when people actually see you doing what you are teaching. Now, one of the quickest ways to get labeled as a fraud or a scam is when you are an educator who is teaching something that you have never practiced. People like learning from people who have actual experience in doing the things that they are teaching. So this is why a lot of business coaches get flack when their first business is business coaching. So if you can position yourself as an expert and an educator who has actually done this work, you're going to build a lot more trust. So my recommendation is to have experience as a practitioner before jumping straight into becoming an educator. But again, you can monetize any one of these. So as a practitioner, you will actually be doing the work. As an educator, you might sell a course, you might sell a masterclass, you might sell a coaching program, you might sell an in-person workshop, but you're going to teach your step-by-step process into how you get results. But if you're an entertainer, you're going to use your personality and your unique storytelling skills to draw in an audience. Typically, entertainers are working more so with brands or corporations more so than they are working with consumers directly. So like influencers, actors, entertainers, they are getting paid to use their personality to sell a product or a service. So again, one is not better than the other, but you want to figure out, how can I best leverage my skills, or how can I best leverage my brand to make money, impact people, entertain, or educate people? Now, the other thing that I will say when it comes to building a brand, because this is a question that I get asked very often, is, do I have to niche down when I am building my brand, right? You hear that you need to be really specific. You need to have a target audience, and my recommendation is to be known for one thing before you become known for multiple things. because I've been able to focus in on being known for helping people build their brands and then get more specific into helping people launch and helping people with their messaging, I've been able to attract more opportunities because people know exactly what they are hiring me for. Building my brand has allowed me to get keynote speaking gigs. It's allowed me to get feature in media for my unique expertise. It's allowed me to sell out of my programs and sell out of my events. But then being so clear on what I want to be known for and building an audience that trusts me then allowed me to expand into other industries. So once people got used to who I was and they started trusting who I was, they became more interested in my personal life. And then I ended up building a brand around my fitness, building my second company called Elious Fit and selling fitness sets. So again, you can expand into a different industry, but you want to first dominate one industry and be known for that thing, build enough trust where people then care about the other aspects of your life. And then the third thing that building a personal brand has allowed me to do is just create freedom for myself, to build that trust, to be able to make money, to be able to create a level of predictability when it comes to my sales, have freedom to travel, spend time with my family. I love that being focused for a decade has given me the life that I live now. So if you want to make more money, you want to be known for something, you really need to prioritize building your brand and answering those questions. What type of brand am I? And what type of business am I in terms of what are the products and services that I'm going to sell? Now, if you want to get more refined with building your brand and you want to get some support and some trainings about how to build your brand, especially in 2024, the way the climate is with promoting yourself on social media, I am going to teach you the foundational principles of building your brand, overcoming imposter syndrome, overcoming the hesitation of showing up online confidently, how you can create content consistently and be seen as a trusted authority in your industry. I hosted a boot camp earlier this year and the 30-day replay is now available to you. Now, at the time when I hosted this boot camp, it was $297, but you can get access to it now for just $47. Go to buildyourbrandbootcamp.com/register and use the code LIVESOFT, and I will make sure that I give it to you for just $47 for listening to today's episode. So I want to know, what is your brand and what is your business? Let me know inside of the comments so I can cheer for you as you continue growing your brand and your business in 2024. Until next time, keep working hard so that you can live soft.